Cowdens were a family of four consisting of Richard, his wife Belinda, their 5-year-old son David, and 5-month-old daughter Melissa. They lived in White City, Oregon, where Richard worked as a logging truck driver. The family loved to camp, but they hadn't planned to go camping the Labor Day weekend of 1974. Richard had planned to haul a load of gravel for his driveway and spend the weekend working. Unexpectedly, his 1956 Ford pickup truck broke down, so instead they decided to go up to the Siskiyou Mountains for a family camping trip. The Siskiyou Mountains are located in northwestern California and southwestern Oregon in the U.S. They extend for approximately 100 miles from east of Crescent City, California into Josephine and Jackson counties in Oregon. The mountain range forms a barrier between the watersheds of the Klamath River to the south and the Rogue River to the north. On Sunday, September 1st, 1974, Richard and David went to the Copper General store on foot at around 9 a.m. to buy some milk. They then left the store and headed back to their campsite. This was the last known sighting of the Cowden family. That evening, Belinda's mother, who lived less than 1 mile from the campsite, was expecting the family to come for dinner on their way home. They didn't show up, so she went to the campsite to see if there was a problem. When she arrived, there was no sign of the family. The truck was at the campsite and the keys were on the picnic table. A plastic dishpan full of cold water lay on the ground and Belinda's purse lay on the table. A diaper bag and camp stove were set up, and a half-finished carton of milk that Richard and David had bought at the store was also present. Strangely and alarmingly, Richard's watch and wallet were on the ground. There was also an open pack of cigarettes, which were the brand that Belinda smoked. The truck appeared untouched and contained their clothing. Only their bathing suits were missing. Belinda's mother left the campground to notify the authorities. The Oregon State Police arrived and searched the scene until it grew dark. Lieutenant Mark Kazar, who headed the case, would later state that the investigation had been delayed for maybe a day because it didn't appear that anything violent had happened. State Trooper Officer Erickson recalled, "That camp was spooky. Even the milk was still on the table." The following morning, on September 2nd, the Cowdens' pet basset hound, Droopy, was found scratching at the front door of the Copper General store, but there was no sign of Droopy's owners. The search for the Cowden family was one of the largest in Oregon history. The U.S. Forest Service searched 25 miles of road and trails surrounding the campsite, and helicopters and planes were flown over the area equipped with infrared imaging. Despite this very large search effort, no sign was found apart from the dog. The official search was suspended on September 7th, but friends and family continued the search to no avail. Authorities were baffled. Then, 7 months after the family vanished, on April 12, 1975, two gold prospectors were hiking through the woods near Carberry Creek when they discovered a decomposing body of an adult male tied to a tree 7 miles from the location of the Cowdens' campsite. In a small cave nearby, the bodies of an adult female, a child, and an infant were discovered. The entrance of the cave was sealed with rocks to disguise it and hide the bodies from view. Dental records determined it was the Cowden family. Autopsies revealed that Belinda and 5-year-old David had died as a result of .22 caliber gunshot wounds, and baby Melissa had died from severe head trauma. Richard's cause of death could not be determined. No gun or weapon was ever found. It was thought that perhaps Richard had killed his family, but then how did he get tied to the tree? Authorities believe that Richard and David returned to the camp after their trip to the store, and the family went swimming later that morning. A short time later, the family was abducted at gunpoint, most likely by someone they didn't know. One family from Los Angeles, California, had arrived at the campground at 5 p.m. on September 1st, and while walking in the park that evening, they witnessed two men and a woman parked nearby in a pickup truck. They said they acted like they were waiting for us to leave, and frankly, they made us nervous, so we moved on. Based on the location of Belinda and the children's bodies inside the cave, Lieutenant Kazar suspected that the person responsible was a local resident who knew the area and was aware of the cave's location. After the family's remains were recovered, a resident of Grants Pass who had volunteered in the search told police that he had searched the cave where Belinda and the children's bodies were found in September 1974, and that they were not there at that time. To confirm the story, the police had the man take them to the cave he had searched. It was the same cave where the bodies had been discovered. Dwayne Lee Little has been implicated but was never charged with the murders. He had been paroled from the Oregon State Penitentiary in Salem on May 24, 1974, 3 months prior to the Cowdens' disappearances. On November 2, 1964, he had assaulted and murdered teenager Orla Faye Phipps, who was 15 years old. State police were able to determine that Little had been in Copper over the Labor Day weekend at the approximate time the Cowden family were killed. Little's girlfriend told law enforcement that she had seen him with a .22 caliber rifle during Christmas 1974. Police believed that the two men and women in a truck reported by the Los Angeles family at the campground were in fact Little and his parents, as their truck matched the description provided by the family. Little and his parents denied any knowledge of the Cowdens' disappearances. However, a miner who owned a cabin nearby claimed that Little and his parents had stopped by on Monday, September 2, 1974, and signed a guest book he kept for visitors. Floyd Forsberg, an inmate who had one time shared a cell with Little, would later claim that Little confessed to the Cowdens' murders. 4 decades later, the facts behind the Cowdens' murders remain a mystery. Was it Dwayne Little or someone else? The case remains unsolved.